Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to The Walk. Today is Thursday, May 8th, and we are up to Ezekiel 46, verse 19. I've got some interesting study notes, but otherwise, this is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter message. Tomorrow, we're going to do the introduction to Ezekiel 47, which means we have 2 chapters to go before we go into something else. I'm really praying a lot about what that something else is. I'm kind of leaning towards either Romans or Hebrews. It seems like Hebrews is more what the Lord is prompting me to, but we could also be doing a topical. So if you would pray along with me about what that next subject is, because we have about 2 weeks for me to figure it out, I would greatly appreciate it. So in Ezekiel 46, verse 19, there was a note in the Apologetic Study Bible which says, kitchens were provided in the temple courtyard so the priests could prepare their communion portion of the animal and grain offerings for their consumption. This arrangement was meant to avoid any defilement by contact with the general population. So what they did is the sacrifice would happen and the kitchen was right there, and they would boil the meat, and the meat was the communion portion that was for the priests to consume. It was God's way of providing them with that provision that they needed. In the Apologetic Study Bible, it said, a good number of temples in the ancient Near East were attached to kitchens. These have been found at Ur, Tel Asmar, and Tarka of Mesopotamia, and at Karnak in Egypt. Many of the kitchen complexes were larger than the temple it serviced. 2 Chronicles 35:11-13 implies the existence of kitchens associated with a Solomon's temple. So it's not at all unusual that there would be a kitchen in there. Verse 19, then he brought me through the entrance, which was at the side of the gate, to the north row of the holy chambers for the priests. And behold, a place was there at the extreme western end of them. And he said to me, this is the place where the priests shall boil the guilt offering and the sin offering, where they shall bake the grain offering, in order not to bring them out into the outer court and so transmit holiness to the people. So that holiness was to be reserved for the priests, and because it was a sacrifice, it had that holiness. It was not for the general population, it was just for the priests. 21. Then he brought me out to the outer court and led me around to the 4 corners of the court. And behold, in each corner of the court there was another court. In the 4 corners of the court were small courts, 40 cubits long and 30 broad. The 4 were of the same size. On the inside of each of the 4 courts was a row of masonry, with hearths made at the bottom of the rows all around. Then he said to me, these are the kitchens where those who minister at the temple shall boil the sacrifices of the people. So there was a lot going on here. We've got the outer court, and then there's 4 corners of the outer court. And in each corner there was another court. So now we're at 5 courts. And in the 4 corners of all those courts were small courts. So now we're at 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. I'm sorry, 16 more. We were at 16 more. 16. So that's a lot of courts. That's a lot of chambers. That's a lot of areas for them to boil, because they would have hundreds and hundreds of people coming to make their sacrifice. Tomorrow, we will dive into Ezekiel 47. Have a wonderful day. God bless, and keep walking the walk.